Hey, welcome to the first episode of Reality Redemption. I'm MJ, and we got Snow. Hi, Snow.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We meant to make this first episode a couple weeks ago at the Black Lives Matter protest here in Kingman, but it was windy. It didn't come out. Sorry for the people that I interviewed down there, and
we'd love to have them on the show.
Yes, especially the two girls that organized it.
Yeah,
they were lovely. 18 years old, and they were just adorable, and they were passionate, and that's what the future of the United States is going to be. And it's refreshing here in Kingman, especially. But it was more of we got wrapped up in the moment and the experience of it, which was a great experience. Everybody was kind. There was only a couple jerks there. Did you hear about the guy that drove by 2 days earlier with the fake gun, the airsoft gun?
Oh, yeah, he got arrested. Yay!
Yeah. Got several charges of assault.
Yeah, at first it was only going to be, I think, one charge, but then they were like, no, let's do this for multiple people that were there. I'm like, even better.
I think there ended up being 5 or 6 charges. The other thing is we want to...
it's also about time, right? About time.
Yeah. Anyway, this is for, George Floyd, Michael Weiser. Michael Weiser, I didn't know him well, but he was very prominent, and he passed away shortly before the protests. And
I know that I've voted for both him and his wife several times.
Right, and I think she's running for school board.
She usually does run for school board, so I will be voting for her again. Yeah. Yay! Another name I don't have to write in for a position.
I know it's so hard to.
So I'll be doing a lot of that this time.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this town and some of our county officials and city officials who can't make a stand on this issue, and they can't really.
And number two, do they even want liberal votes? Do they even care? Do they have anything? And I hate that it even comes to that, because it really doesn't. It's like I don't have a problem with Republicans per se, but can you guys give me good reasons on why I should vote for you? Maybe you should try to convince me.
Yeah, just because you're the only people on the ballot doesn't necessarily mean, you deserve our vote. I don't know. And I can understand their position of, especially around here, that they don't want to piss off.
Then tell me privately. Tell me, you know what, you are more than welcome to tell me privately. There are a lot of people running for a lot of positions this time, and I would personally like to know what sets them apart from the other ones, like why they deserve left people's votes, because we are still here, and maybe that would push you over the edge. Just saying.
Right.
Maybe that'll give you the victory.
Like this week's controversy was somebody made a proposal to fly a BLM flag at the park. To counteract, there's a store not far from this park that sells Confederate flags openly. And I get it. You don't want to step on anybody's First Amendment rights. Yeah, you have the right to do it, but what kind of image are you trying to portray as you're entering the city? Sure, sell them, but...
And also, okay, yes, this is America. You have the right to be... you have the right to be racist if you want. But I have no problem with people keeping them on their cars. Okay, that's a warning sign to me to stay away from you, whatever. The problem that I have with the mayor's response, and I hate to just pick on her because there's several people, and the problem that I have with some of the supervisors' response is, well, we're not going to step on the constitutional rights. Okay, I get that, but do you think that you could maybe explain the flag a little bit? I mean, and I get it. It's not your job to educate people either, but you're in a position of leadership. Could you at least explain that the flag is like seen as hateful by some people? Could you at least say that? Because it's almost like you just want to, you know that you want to get reelected. You know that you live in a conservative town. So you're not even going to say anything, but by your response, I can also tell that you know that it's wrong too. So that's my problem.
Right. And, you know, another point is there was another person running for city council that their signs were being taken down because they mistakenly thought that this person was involved in organizing the protest.
Even if they were, there's no reason for taking down anyone's sign.
Anybody's signs, you know.
Even I hate to say it, Trump signs, they should be allowed to be up.
Yeah. I mean,
even though I don't like them.
What?
I'm not going to take them down.
Yeah. I heard somebody was going around one of the grocery stores and putting F Trump stickers on people that had pro Trump stickers, and that's wrong too. I mean,
yeah, that constitutes as like vandalism, doesn't it? You don't really have the right to touch other people's property.
So, you know, these protests are still going on. You know, what's it, 20 some odd days later? And
Yay! Good.
It's a movement, and no, I don't agree with the rioters, destruction of property and all that, but people are fed up.
But we also have to include that a lot of the rioting is being done by the anti-protesters.
Right. Did you see the guy in...
I'm not saying all of it. Let's just clarify. I'm not saying that there aren't opportunists out there who are looking for free stuff, because I don't want to make false claims. But a lot of the stuff is anti-protesters drumming up stuff to make protesters look bad and blaming it on Antifa, who I don't even know that Antifa really exists all that much anymore.
Well, I mean, there was busloads of them coming into Walmart from what I heard.
Yeah, coming to Kingman, Arizona. Yeah. Like, let's just think about this crazy statement for a second, folks. Busloads of Antifa coming into, of all places, Kingman, Arizona, when there are protests going on worldwide. Let me say that again, worldwide, of Black Lives Matter protests. Okay, why would they focus on going to Kingman?
Because of Saca Bear Cone.
Like, no.
Well, if they wanted to figure out where they're a hotbed, because apparently even Hollywood knows where the hotbed is. You know.
Yeah, I guess so. But they wouldn't they focus on bigger areas? That's.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to loot? Confederate flags?
I know. What you're gonna get? Are you gonna go harass the Confederate flag seller on the corner of Beale Street and what is it, First Street?
Yeah, I mean,
like, what are you gonna go harass him?
Would you rather loot a Nike store than an antique store?
Right. Like, so.
Yeah. Well, even last night there was somebody that was posting, "Hey, do you know any militia groups in town that can help assist with the police in case the trouble starts?" And yeah, it was everybody like, "Yeah, mount up, regulators. Yeah, we got a busload of them coming into Walmart." Last night.
I just can't. I just can't.
God, Facebook is just evil. Evil. Mark Zuckerberg is the devil.
Zuckerberg. Yeah.
You know, but at least this movement is bringing out change. Even NASCAR of all sports,
The most rednecky of all sports.
Yeah, I mean, highly conservative. If you I've been to a NASCAR race, you'll see just as many MAGA hats as Jimmy Johnson hats.
As Confederate flags,
As,
which
well,
now,
not
proudly,
anymore.
they're not allowed to fly them there.
Yeah. So,
woo, go NASCAR!
So that started with Bubba Wallace, African American race car driver, the only one, drives for Richard Petty, the 43, and he had a Black Lives Matter race car. And so he really brought the attention of it and got...
And isn't his, I'm sorry to interrupt, but isn't his symbol basically a symbol of unity? Like he has the two hands. So it's like, it's not, that's what I don't understand about people. It's more about how, like, we're in this together, guys. Like, I don't understand why more people can't get on board with this.
Yeah, I mean, just because Black lives matter, that doesn't mean all lives don't matter. Of course all lives matter.
That's another point I wanted to make. When people say Black Lives Matter, they're not saying all other lives don't matter. But that's what these people are thinking. And then, furthermore, if you're going to sit there and be like an all lives matter person, then aren't you admitting that Black Lives Matter? So why can't you just say Black Lives Matter? I don't understand it. Maybe it's different ways of thinking, but I don't understand that mentality.
Did you see the congressman trying to get the Republican panel just to say, look, all I want you to say is Black Lives Matter,
yes!
and none of them would do it?
Yes, they refused. And then, you know what they should have brought up? Their go-to guy that they, remember when Mitch McConnell was like, well, we're going to ask so-and-so about this. I forget the guy's name. He's like the only Republican black senator.
Oh, yeah, the guy from, he's from South Carolina.
Tim Scott?
Yeah, I think so.
I hate to get names wrong, and I probably should have researched this beforehand.
Yeah, hey, we have microphones in front of us, so whatever we say is the truth.
Yeah.
Go
oh my
ahead,
gosh.
challenge us.
Heads up. I am right. It is Tim Scott. Not to toot my own horn, but they were sitting there saying, we're gonna basically ask him about his opinions on this. Like, that's their one person to go to. Then why can't you just admit that Black Lives Matter? I mean, you kind of did. They matter a whole lot when you're looking to that one person to reconfirm everything that you've said, right? Am I thinking that wrong?
No, it's just ridiculous. The state of the country is just ridiculous. So NASCAR, Bubba Wallace got a lot of heat for the Black Lives Matter car, and then the next day, Bubba Wallace came out and made a statement about the Confederate flag and how he would like to see maybe it go away. And I think it was a day later that NASCAR banned Confederate flags on racetrack properties. And the rednecks just lost their minds.
But then it didn't even stop there with NASCAR. Let's tell them about what they did for Pride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, if your redneck's life got any worse, they're like, God damn it. First, the Black Lives Matter car.
NASCAR's done lost their damn minds.
First, it's a black guy driving. Then he drives a Black Lives Matter car. Then they take away the Confederate flag. What's next? You're going to fly pride flags? You're going to fly pride flags at the races? And what does NASCAR do the next day? They change their logo to the rainbow logo.
Go NASCAR.
I never watch NASCAR again. I posted something pro Bubba Wallace, and I have never gotten so many hate messages.
We should read some of those.
Yeah, we're going to do that in another show. We'll get more prepared to actually write this stuff down. We're just freewheeling it here. But, so, yeah, happy Pride Month, everybody. Inclusion.
Happy Pride Month.
Look, all love matters, not just gay love.
I'm surprised they haven't come up with that.
When do we get a heterosexual month coming?
What is the other? I like the other one. I like the other comparison to where people will go. The fact that you guys will sit there and just say the all lives immediately out of the gate rather than just admitting that is like the equivalency of going to somebody who's telling you that they have breast cancer and then you say all cancers matter. Like, you wouldn't say that to somebody.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like, do you even the words coming out of my mouth and then like me talking about other people, I'm like, how do you guys not hear how ridiculous you sound? How do you, if you say something, because we all say stupid things.
But what about my condition? What about my condition? I can't wear a mask, okay? What about my condition? Yeah.
Well, on that, then try a ventilator. Maybe that one's more comfortable for you. I don't know.
You know, you can fit them all in, you know, like to a T. You know, hey, how do you feel about wearing a mask? You wear one? Libtard. You don't wear one. You take away my rights. It's just ridiculous how divided we are on everything. Absolutely everything. So back to the BLM and the Confederate flag issue, and I don't know why the Confederate flag is such a big deal in Arizona. I saw one guy, he was writing, well, that's because during the Civil War, Arizona fell south of the Mason-Dixon line, so they were in the Confederacy.
Whoa, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't.
You want to Google that one, buddy?
Yeah, that's what I would have said to him. I would have said, could you please Google search that and then type the response into the comments, because I'd actually be interested in seeing what you come up with there. But
well, that's because Google is a liberal conspiracy to keep the facts away from conservatives. Just like Snopes is run by liberals and PolitiFact is run by left-wing idiots.
It's like, do they know that like Snopes has actually disproved some of the memes made by the left too? So to sit there and just, I think they just come up with this thing where like, if they don't like the information that they're told, then it's a liberal hoax. Because, or it's the, I posted this the other day from one of my favorite shows, Adam Ruins Everything, and they're talking about the backfire effect. And it's a psychological term. Like, if you tell people stuff, if you even load it with facts, their views and beliefs are so strong that they're going to fight you no matter what. So no facts are even going to matter to them. They're just going to fight you on it because they don't want to be told that they're wrong.
Yeah, you're going to see what you want to see. You're going to believe what you want to believe.
So there's no winning with them.
Well, there's no facts. I mean, yeah, we all have the rights to our opinions, but facts are facts. And especially if your news source is just, posting memes. Memes, I think, are so stupid because we could make a meme about anything.
Right. I mean, I literally have Meme-matic or whatever on my phone, so I can make silly memes, because memes are still fun. I mean, who doesn't love a great meme? But also, if I put anything out there, or anyone else, I figure that it's fair game to dispute it with facts. I would like to be corrected. If I'm saying things wrong, I would like for people to correct me. I would like to know the facts.
Right, and when you can go on, and I don't like to comment on too many people's posts because it's a right to post whatever you want and feel free. And
Right.
I'll either just scroll past, or if you get too obnoxious, I'll just either snooze you
or delete you.
Or delete
if
you
you're,
if
you're
really
using
bad.
like racial slurs. That's the one where if I catch you using like racial slurs, I'm done. I'm not even putting up with a person like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times around this town that I've heard people saying the racial slurs, but I will see those exact same people on local pages going, "How dare you call me racist?" I heard you say
Like,
it.
I thought you're like, I'm sorry, I thought that you were a proud racist by what the terms you use.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, I'd feel more comfortable putting it on social media than actually saying it.
You're like, so let me get this straight. You want to be able to use the N word, and you know that you shouldn't, but you also don't want to be called a racist. How does that work?
I called somebody else out, and it was on a post, and it was like one of these all lives matter things, and I didn't dispute that with them. I was just like, all right, yeah, well, okay, we can agree to disagree, but can we agree that using the N-word is inappropriate any time? And their response was, well, it's just a word.
Okay. Just, like, people like that, I'm like, have you ever looked up the word? Do you know any history of the word? Like, maybe I should share my story right now of when I was 13 years old. My family, my relatives had came out from Louisiana. As they did like many summers, they'd come out and visit because grandma lived with us in Arizona. And so one year, the year I was 13, we drove back. We all drove back to Louisiana with them, like a road trip. Stopped in Houston because they have Astroworld and Waterworld. Amazing place, like Six Flags in Texas. So one of the days we went to Astroworld. We were standing in line to go on a roller coaster. So these two younger teenage black girls, and you could tell that they were sisters because the way that they were arguing with each other. And then they were there with their brother. And so they started arguing back and forth, like being sassy, and they were loud, yeah. No one else even cared that it was going on, except for this one white girl, and she was there, like, if I had to guess their age, I would say that they were like, maybe like in their 20s, right? Early 20s. And her and her boyfriend, they were like metalheads, like long feathered stoner type people. Not like stoners now, like not like skater stoners, but you know what I mean? Like they were wearing like Guns N' Roses shirts, which by the way, they should really check themselves because Axl Rose pretty woke, always has been. So I'm like, I don't know why this came out of this woman's mouth. Anyways, let's get to the point though.
Well, Axl did use it in a song once.
What was he meaning it?
It was police and N-words, get out of my way. I don't know what the point of the song was. It was on their acoustic EP. And this was back in the 80s, and he got quite a bit of heat for that.
Oh, maybe I always thought that he was okay because Slash is...
No. He was just trying to be controversial. Axl is kind of a really progressive guy.
Right. I mean, he is now, if you read any of his tweets now. But, okay, well, see, hey, you're teaching me something that I didn't know about him. But, or, hey, maybe he learned that we've had several artists in the past who have learned, like Lynyrd Skynyrd. That's like a fan favorite. They talked crap about the Confederate flag later. And so did Tom Petty. Tom Petty said, I had no idea that this was so hateful and hurtful to folks, and quit using it.
Right, and...
so they got past it. But,
yeah,
well, I want to...
And Dukes of Hazzard kind of used it harmlessly.
So I want to get back to the story, though, because it's kind of like what people don't understand about the N-word white people don't understand about it. So we're standing in line, and so the white lady says out loud, like she goes, I don't understand why these N-words, and she said the word, have to sit here and yell and scream and call all this attention to them. So their brother came over and punched her in the face. Just once. Punched her in the face. I'm not saying that it was right, okay? I'm not saying that, but
if you're going to say it,
punched her in the face, and she got knocked out, and she was laying on the ground. And then so security had came over, and arrested him, put him in handcuffs. He didn't even go after the boyfriend or anything. So I was standing up like on the rail. You know how you go through the thing kind of like cattle?
Yeah.
You go through the metal bars. So I'm standing up on the thing and I go, but she, and my parents they're like, get your ass down. They don't need to hear from you. And I was like, but this is so wrong. And the reason that I felt and knew that it was wrong was like I was being bullied in school at the same time that this was going on. Like, I mean, I had braces and glasses at the time. And I knew that what she did was hurtful. And it wasn't, and even like I didn't know, let's just say I didn't know the complete power of that word either, but I knew that it was wrong. I mean, I had seen Mississippi Burning. Like, you know that it's wrong. And I knew that it hurt them, that it was her trying to put them in their place. So I felt more sorry for them than I did for her at that moment. And I was like, but the point of my story is that's what happens when you want to try to say that word. Don't expect to not get punched in the face.
There's consequences to it. I mean,
why do you need to use the word? That's my thing. It's why
shouldn't?
No, why do some of these people even want to use the word? Why? Like white people, why do you want to use the word? I've seen several posts lately of why can't I use the word too? Why do you want to?
Yeah.
Why?
I knew at a young age, and I think it's just upbringing.
You're kind of like you don't even want to use the words like your and their properly. Why do you want to use this word? You can't even use you can't even use simple words properly.
Well, this is why
you don't need to use this word.
Well, this is why getting back to Arizona, we're like 48th in education, and it shows. Okay. So I knew, very young that growing up, even my grandparents, that we would drive around and they would see something go on, and my grandparents would go, "Oh, those people," and I'd be like, "Oh no, my grandparents just said those people. That's terrible." So I guess getting back to the Confederate flag, there's such... In the Confederate flag, I think you know more about this than I do, it's not really the Confederate flag. It's been mutated several times.
So there's a saying that a lot of white folks like to use that says, if you think this flag is racist, you need a history lesson. And I had heard that several times, and I'm like, I thought about it and I go, you know what? They're probably right. History was my most favorite class to ditch and go smoke weed in high school. So I took them up on the offer. And a lot of them did not like what I learned about it. And so then I return the favor, and I like to say, if you don't think this flag is racist, you need a history lesson.
But it's about heritage.
Okay, heritage, if heritage is, if your heritage
If your
is
heritage is
owning
hate.
people, if it's owning people, that's not something to really be proud of. I'm just saying.
You know, and we'll go back to the Civil War. And what was the Civil War fought about?
And
Well, it was fought about states' rights. Okay, states' rights to do what?
or I've also heard this one. I've heard, the South was protesting the taxes that were imposed on them. I'm like, okay, well, let me look into that further. So I looked into that further, and yes, they were going to be taxed for not releasing their slaves, freeing their slaves. So it was a tax on you for keeping your slaves. How do those things not click to people?
Yeah, and they like to claim themselves as the party of Lincoln now, you know, which makes no sense at all because, you know, they're supporting the group that went against the country.
Okay, and the parties were different back then. You can't keep telling these people that, right? Because I've thought about this a lot lately.
Yeah, well, the Democrats started the KKK.
Right. I thought about this a lot lately, though. So then why are these same do-gooders who are always in the party of we're the right ones, why aren't they standing up now when we have racial issues? Why aren't they saying, no, we're not going to go for a border wall. No, we don't want you putting children in cages. Why aren't they doing that now? Why aren't you standing up and saying, this is not what our party stands for. This is not what our party has ever stood for. We are the party that freed the slaves. Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they doing that?
Well,
I'm sorry, my passion's going with it.
We're overmodulating.
Why aren't we hearing the outrage from these folks who are sitting there and saying, our party's the good party, our party freed the slaves, then what happened to you now? What happened to you now then? Because I'm sick of hearing that from them.
It's because all lives matter, okay?
Then if you can say all lives matter, why can't you just say Black Lives Matter? Here's my thing with the all lives matter folks, okay? Think about this for a second. All lives won't matter until Black Lives Matter because they're part of all lives, folks. So once we can admit that Black Lives Matter, then we're having all lives matter.
What was the name of the guy in Minnesota? He was a legal gun owner.
Philando Castile.
Yeah, and why?
I know this
why
one.
Why did the NRA not step up on that one?
Right. I know this. I know a lot about this case because I am a Teamster, Local 104. He was also a Teamster. He worked for the school district there. And the kids there used to call him Mr. Rogers with dreadlocks. The kids loved him. Okay. The Teamsters wrote a very nice piece about him after the horrific incident that happened with him. Philando Castile, yes, was an American, a Black American trying to exercise his Second Amendment rights.
Right, and he got pulled over for a taillight out.
A taillight being out. How many white people are getting pulled over for a taillight being out? Right. I've never been pulled over for a taillight being out.
Now, the other part of this story is his wife was in the car. And
his
girlfriend, okay.
And her daughter.
And her daughter. And she was filming this with her cell phone. So this is all on camera.
And here's an important factor too that I have always wanted to discuss about Philando Castile's case and the difference, the whole white privilege thing, the difference between being white and being Black. Philando Castile was not the one driving the vehicle. Okay. His girlfriend was driving the vehicle. He was the passenger. So here's another story of what happened. I was a teenager. I was a new driver, a bad driver. Um, I was driving. My dad was all pissed off one time and told me to go pick up my sister from one of our friends' house. I was friends with her older sister Mandy, and my sister was friends with Chrissy, and so I had to go over there to pick her up from Mandy's house, and no one had answered the door. And I was already irritated. And Colleen had went with me. Colleen was riding in the passenger seat of my vehicle. On the way back, I ran a red light. Okay? Who was sitting waiting to turn at the intersection? A police officer. Right when I blew through the red light, because I was upset and driving, I shouldn't have been. I kind of did one of those things where I pulled over because I knew I was getting pulled over. Okay. You're like, I just ran. And I told Colleen that. I go, I just ran a red light and there was a cop at that intersection trying to turn.
You just give up.
Right. So, of course, I was right. He came, pulled behind the car. And I did the stupid thing. This is one of the first times I had ever been pulled over. I pulled over. And I had opened the car door, and I was getting ready to get out. And so he says on the speakerphone, he's like, "Ma'am, get back in your car." And so got back in my car, and I was like upset, crying. He comes up to my window, and he's like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just ran a red light in front of you."
Say, officer, you didn't pull me over. I gave up.
Right. And so he's like, he explained to me why he told me to get back in the vehicle, because he had seen that I was a child still. And he's like, "You can't be getting out of the car like that. You know, we take it as a threat." Okay. So then he asks me why I did that, and I explained to him, my dad made me go over and my sister wasn't there. No one would answer the door. That's why she's not in the car, blah, blah, blah. So he gave me a ticket for running the red light, which I expected, told me I could go to traffic school. The one thing that I will say, he never asked for any information from my passenger. Nothing. Like that's what people don't understand. Like the white privilege. We were both white girls. They didn't even ask. Like, I don't understand why Philando Castile had gotten questioned in the first place for anything when he was a passenger. He didn't do anything.
And he was trying to do the right thing. And he said, "Officer, I have a gun on me. I am
a legal gun owner. I have my paperwork to own a gun." And where was the NRA to stand up for this proud legal gun owner? Silent.
You'd think they would be outraged.
Silent because of the color of his skin.
Yeah, because if he was white, oh my God, they would have paid. Well, you can't pay for the person's attorney when you're dead, but where was the lawsuit? Where was the lawsuit against this police department? I wonder what.
I'm sure that they did. So the case had gone to court, and
right.
And I did actually commend when this had happened, they did fire the officer. They fired the officer that did that. But, so then it goes to court, and they find him not guilty. So he was never prosecuted. Now, I believe that the family did go after, because even though the person gets found not guilty, you can go after for damages. Kind of like the O.J. Simpson trials, they still could seek damages because that was still the reason why the family members were dead. So the police department was still the cause of Philando Castile being killed. They're still allowed to go after for damages. Which is what, honestly, that's becoming more and more what has to happen. Like you have to hit cities and businesses and whatever and folks in the pocketbook in order for people to learn. And it's sad that's what it takes.
That's the only way. I mean, everybody has the right to say whatever they want, sell whatever flags you want. But you have to look at the economic factor of how that could hurt you.
There's,
know?
yeah, there's responsibilities.
Because I know personally, if I see certain stuff on Facebook and I know what businesses they work for, I'll just choose not to do business with them, and I won't say anything about it, and I'll just silently
Exactly.
look
Like,
the
I'm
other
not,
way.
I'm like, I always just look at it. I'm like, oh, apparently my liberal dollars aren't good there.
Yeah.
I hate to have to say it like that, but I need to do something to make it lighthearted and funny. So,
I know nothing's been funny over the last how many weeks?
oh, I
think
kind of have a
it's
funny then,
March.
since we're also still kind of on the subject of the Confederate flag. Here's another great argument that is always brought up by folks. It is completely ridiculous, but why they want to keep that glorious Confederate flag is the argument of the Dukes of Hazzards. Okay.
Hey,
The
careful.
Now, here's the thing. I understand why I don't agree with, but I understand why the Confederate flag is on top of the General Lee car, because the quote unquote Confederate flag is not technically, and this is more of the history of the Confederate flag when I looked it up to learn more about it, it's
Right.
not technically the Confederate flag. It is the Confederate battle flag. The Confederate battle flag was rejected by the Confederate Army as being their flag. They did not like the flag. The only one that liked the flag was General Lee, so he picked it up later to be the Confederate battle flag. Okay, let's get that straight so everyone knows. So I understand why it's on the top of the car. What I don't understand about the car, why is the number 1 on the side of the car? Shouldn't it be number 2?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. It's like you
just
lost, and more importantly, why is there not a General Grant car with the United States flag on the top and a number 1 on the side?
I'm not though. I grew up in Vermont, and during the time when the show was popular, and at the time no one really thought about the flag being on top of the car, but we did. We had somebody that had a red '69 Charger, and they called it the General Grant, and it did have an American flag on the roof.
I would like to hug that person, whoever that person is. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is truth right there, folks. I'm sorry. Did
Well,
you
Vermont
say
is
he
pretty-
had? Did you say he had a number 1 on the side?
Well, it was all one. It was painted identically to the General Lee, but it was red instead, and it had American flag on the roof.
See, and they should have changed. They should have had the General Lee as the number 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Although when they remade the Dukes of Hazzard as kind of a goof movie, I think in the 90s, they brought the General Lee to Atlanta, and there was some protest going on, and the General Lee was rolling through the protests, and just the looks that the car was getting. And it was just such a subtle hint to, that was wrong looking back at it.
Right. Hey, do you remember when there's a professional golfer, who bought the original General Lee, and he was like,
Yeah, but
I am getting
Bubba
it.
Watson.
Huh?
His name was Bubba Watson.
Right. Okay. I thought it was another Bubba.
Yeah.
So and I thought it was similar to the NASCAR guy's name. He was like, I'm buying the General Lee and I'm repainting the top of it to be the American flag because that is our only flag. And I was like, heck yeah. So I was talking, it was popular during the time, especially here in Kingman.
Bubba Watson from Arizona. No, by the way, he lives in Phoenix.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the guys at work were like, he just destroyed that car. He just destroyed the value of that car by doing that. And it's like, so what? It is a statement basically saying that this is not right. And if some of these people who are claiming that, it's about heritage and whatnot, then why aren't you listening to what General Lee himself actually thought about displaying the flag and the statues post Civil War. He was against it. He was against it. He was against the statues of him and other Confederate generals.
But how are you going to learn about history if you don't have a statue for it?
Oh, I don't know. There are these things that you can crack open, and they're full of pages and words. They're called books.
Have you seen the literacy on the people on Facebook?
I know. I guess.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit too much.
But, okay, if we're talking about statues, I have a point on that. Aren't Confederate statues basically like America's original participation trophies?
That's a great point.
And I thought that, I have honestly thought from all the whining that I hear from all the old farts, that aren't they against giving millennials participation trophies? So why are you clinging on to these participation trophies?
Wouldn't participation trophy just remind the kid that he was in Little League? How else is he going to remember he was in Little League if he doesn't have that participation trophy to look at to remind him? You know, it's just ridiculous. And you know, I don't support destroying the statues. Put them in a museum.
Yeah, I'm fine with them. Well, honestly, I personally don't care if they get destroyed. I'll be honest. It doesn't upset me that they're being defaced or whatever. Because look at what they did to, wasn't it like Mussolini's statue? And if you ask all these people about that, they're okay with that though, because you know they're okay with like fascist leaders being destroyed.
Well, how come in Germany everybody still knows about Hitler? There's no statues of him there.
Right. Why is it possible there? Well, I mean, we could also argue that maybe that's an education factor.
Yeah.
You know? We could argue.
You know, maybe Germany had it right. They had that wall, and maybe we need to do that here because everything's so divided. We'll put the wall, East America, West America, you know, and all the liberals go to one side, all the conservatives go to the other side.
Yeah, but how do you do it? That wouldn't be fair, though, because it seems like our liberal places are like where there's coast.
Yeah, we have all the water.
It's almost like, yeah, if you're by water, your mind works better.
I think that's true because I feel better when I'm around water.
So do I.
Yeah.
I feel better when there's sand in my toes, you know, margarita by my side, and the water, I can hear the water, you know, it does something. I really believe, I mean, all that other stuff aside, I really believe that, if people would more learn that we belong to this planet does not belong to us, then they would appreciate it more, and they would be more in tune with, I mean, there's a reason why we're here. There's a reason to all of this. I don't know what that reason is, but there is one. Who knows?
And you would think, you know, I remember after 9/11, you know, everybody, for just a few weeks, we all came together, we all got along.
Yeah, it lasted 2 weeks, just like you said. It was like,
and you know,
back to being assholes.
Where is that, you know, that respect the flag thing, you know, then everybody just let them fly off their cars, and you had little American flags and ditches everywhere. Do you remember that?
I know.
Because we all had that, you know, remember that we all had our little American flag on our car after that time? But, you know, it's too bad that even with the COVID crisis, we can't get back to that sense of unity. But now I ain't gonna wear a mask.
It may have something to do with our leader, like where we're not.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that as a Republican Democrat thing, because look at who our leader was under 9/11. I mean, and people seem to still come together.
Well, he had a very I have a lot of criticism over him.
Oh, I have a lot of criticism about that war, too.
But, boy, I would take him any day right now.
Oh, hands down. Even though, yeah, he was not a great leader.
He had a calming voice, though. When something would go wrong, at least you could tune in and you'd be like, okay, I guess we're going to be okay.
Right.
Which we don't feel that now. I don't
No.
know. Watched any good movies lately?
I did. Last night I watched a documentary. It's available on Amazon. Amazon is fully in support. I don't agree with them on other things, but this one I do. They're fully in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. So if you're a Prime member and you go on to the Amazon Prime app on your smart TV, you have the ability to watch a lot of great Black films and Black documentaries. I recently watched, it's called Freedom Summer, and it's kind of the real story. Like I had talked about earlier, I'd watched Mississippi Burning when I was a kid. So it's the real story about that movie. There was a bunch of kids from universities in the North that came down to help people in Mississippi. Mississippi was having like a real problem right then
was this about 1964?
Yes.
Okay.
Being able to vote in Mississippi, being able to even register to vote in Mississippi. So all these students had came down and kind of made it their mission to help out, to help Black people get the right to vote. All they wanted to do was vote. And they were so warm and welcoming to these students. The students had to stay with the different Black families there. And that's what the students had commented on. They're like, they found it so great that the courage of the folks there, they knew that they could be retaliated against, and they still welcomed their homes to the students, took them in. They sat around and and the students were saying it was just so wonderful to sit around and have meals together and talk and just be loving and supporting with other people they only want the same things that everyone else wants out of life. They want to raise their children. They want to have a safe, healthy environment to raise their children. They want the right to vote. They want to do all the same things that you want to do.
Right. And, to this day, we still have that going on, and this is, subject for another time, is
voter suppression.
Voter suppression. It's real, okay? It's not the fraudulent vote by mail that is a real problem. And, we'll have to have more statistics on that. That's a subject for another time. But, yeah, we get into other things. We get into disarming cartoon characters and, companies rebranding themselves. And, God, just see people so outraged about Aunt Jemima syrup going away. And when in reality, the company's just getting with the time.
And it's like, if it has the same great syrup taste that you always loved, why is it that you're like, I can't use it because they changed the name? So are you saying, no, I like the way that you stereotype Black people, so I can't live without that? I'm not going to be able to do this anymore.
Right.
Because honestly, that's what you sound like. That's what you sound like to normal people.
Yeah, that's how it comes off, and I don't think
you
they
sound
see
like an
that.
idiot.
But of all the things to be outraged about, what's going on in the world right now, what's going on in the country right now, that's what they choose to be mad about. And
pancake syrup.
And they call us snowflakes. We're defending human rights over here, and we're snowflakes, but which
I'm not gonna lie, I took their snowflake thing and flipped it and reversed it on them. I actually like calling myself a snowflake now, because I'm like, you know what? Good. That means that I took it up as a symbol for anti-bullying. I know exactly what you guys are trying to do, and snowflakes are awesome.
But how can people be all
They're one of the most beautiful things in nature.
We're snowflakes. We need our safe spaces. We need participation trophies. Ooh, need to go hide at home under our beds because we're afraid of the coronavirus. This and that. But how come at the same time we're considered Antifa, where we're violent thugs, and we're going to burn this city to the ground? And you'll see the same thing come out of people's mouths one day to the next. One day we're violent, evil people, and the next day we're just pussies.
You know what I think it is? Okay, I travel a lot, so I research trips a lot and whatnot, and anyone else who does it too knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you go onto a place to read the reviews of hotels, there are people who will bitch about the most insane, stupid, trivial crap. It's almost like if there is a heaven and they get there and they will find something they don't like about paradise and they will bitch about it. It's like when I'm reading those reviews, I want to know if it's somewhat a safe area and if there's bed bugs. Those are my concerns. Okay, these people are complaining they didn't fold the towels in the bathroom to my specifications. It's
okay, Karen.
Yeah, you're dude, I'm sorry, are you part of the royal family? Or you do realize that you're booking at a Motel 6. You're not booking at maybe you should splurge then and go to a Ritz-Carlton. If you're looking for perfection.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah. Motel 6 is like the McDonald's of hotels.
And I've come to the conclusion.
Well, it's motel. It's in the name.
Right. I've come to the conclusion that these people, there's something more serious and psychological going on with them. They're obviously miserable in life people, so they're, no matter what, nothing is going to make them happen because they have problems with themselves.
Right, they will never be happy. And
it's with them though. It starts with them.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wish we had Google reviews about heaven. Because how disappointed are they going to be when they get there and they actually see the skin color of Jesus?
That, and they see
I'm never coming here again.
And they also, do you sometimes wonder if they'd be I've decided I'd rather go to that other place. I would like to complain, and I realize that it's going to be hot there, but I think I'd rather be there.
How come there's no Confederate flags around here?
And aren't they going to be really upset when they see what all the people look like there? Because it's going to be pretty multiracial down there, or up there, excuse me.
Look, this isn't what I paid for when I came here. Can I be moved? Yes, you can.
Yeah, we've got a place that's a lot warmer for you.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of saunas?
Do you prefer the bottom floor?
Or ovens?
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna wrap this up, the first episode, and it's Father's Day weekend. So you want to say anything to your dad?
Happy Father's Day, Dad. I already bought him a present and sent it to him.
Oh. And to my dad, no longer here, but hey, he'd be proud of me. I'm doing something I actually enjoy. So we'll see.
Oh, and MJ, happy Father's Day to you too.
Yeah,
You're a father.
Yes, I am. And you have two very progressive kids.
Do you
Even more progressive than I am.
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you have fun plans with them?
No, not this weekend. Don't want to get the corona.
Right. I know.
It's everywhere. It's rampant here. That's another episode for another day. But anyway, guys, thanks for checking us out. And, this one's a little bit heavy. We're going to try to be a little lighthearted as we can. I guess we had a little fun on this one, though.
We did.
Yeah. Look, we can make racism funny. Yeah, but not all the time. But hey, stay safe, everybody. Peace, and we'll talk to you next time.